All right, welcome to CapeCast. We've got a loaded crew here tonight. We're not used to these 5-screen deal.
Dude.
Such an amateur.
Yeah, we've got the comic movie marks with us. We've also got Dave Pena, the Film Junkee. How are you guys doing?
Good, man.
Yeah,
Great.
Nice.
I love the opening of your show. I mean, it's just like
Matt, was it everything you remembered?
Dude, I actually got a question. I got a quick question. I know it's the Batman thing, but any of you guys One Punch Man fans at all?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I've never really gotten into that.
No.
Dang. Okay, never mind. There's that's kind of what that graphic reminds me of. Is at the end, it's like One Punch Man, and it drives like high pitch and everything. And it just reminded me of that. So, all right, fine, never mind. Go.
We got a little Brandon vocal flair in there at the end with the CapeCast. So
really,
oh, nice.
Wow,
Do it again.
He's our resident musician, and
so he also can get those crazy high notes too, as well as wow.
Occasionally.
Did Ryan just like kick you in the balls or what happened?
All right, we got to get
it. Most every show. So
this is a spoiler show, so we might as well play this Brandon graphic as well.
Spoilers.
yeah. Any high pitch drops you need, I'm your guy.
Okay. Apparently. I'm writing that down.
That's right.
Yeah. Hit up Brandon.
So Dave, before we'll have you guys plug at the beginning and end of the show. So please, by all means, plug away, my friend.
Yeah, well, I'm Dave the Film Junkee. You can find me at the Film Junkee with 2 E's at the end. You can find my Twitter right there. And yeah, that's pretty much.
We've got all these links in the description as well, so everybody can.
God, so professional.
I
know. Unlike us, I mean, we all suck. Yeah.
If it wasn't for the fact there was a big red box that tells me I needed a description from YouTube, like I wouldn't put anything in there. Forget about that.
Matt and Shane, anything y'all want to play?
Yeah, we're Matt and Shane.
Apparently, we're old ways.
Apparently, I'm not very good at marketing myself. Everybody else has got to be professional,
right?
I'm just
Comic Movie Marks, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vero, whatever else.
We always say like Tinder, OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
all that good stuff.
To check that one out.
I'm sure you can find us.
we did try to make a Tinder account.
We did. It didn't last very long, but it would have been epic.
They wanted like a real profile and stuff, and we're like,
yeah. What does that even mean? Yeah,
exactly. You can't have acid as much as we thought.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is.
I'm Brandon, of course. How are you doing? I didn't ask how you were doing.
Oh, it's okay. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Cool. Yeah, no problem.
Glad to be here, per usual.
Yes, sir. So tonight we are reviewing the epilogue for Zack Snyders Justice League, and inevitably probably gonna get off on some WB tangents because when you
that's what kind of show this is gonna be. More like I'm not wearing pants.
Oh dang.
Yeah, maybe the language thing wasn't accurate. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into this thing. So to start this thing out, and I imagine do what?
Stop talking dirty, man. I'm telling you.
Right?
I know.
I imagine the majority of this one's going to be in the actual nightmare sequence, but we do get a couple of or a few little like wrap up quick segments to start the epilogue with Cyborg with he kind of rematerializes the recorder. And we get the father twice over. I brought you into the world and back to it from Silas. Anything that stood out to you with his monologue or in these kind of opening scenes with the epilogue? Ryan Choi at the Kryptonian ship site, Aquaman, Miro, Volko.
Chris Terrio is just a genius. He just had to write good dialogue, good monologues. I mean, who's ever heard of that? Father twice over. I mean, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. The way, and then I love the way that when he brings everything back together, and then he like listens to the father twice, and then he rewinds it. back to like just a little bit, just that little bit, just to get the whole thing. He didn't have to do that. For some reason, I just like the fact that he rewinded all the way back, especially since it's such an analog thing, and he's like this crazy super bot,
Right.
And he's got this tape recorder, right there that he just rewinds, and no, I just like that how it starts off like that, and it's such a good little monologue, and it fits. Obviously, when you see Arthur, he wants to go visit his father again. I mean, it all just works out pretty damn well.
Yeah, it is cool. Artistic flair in BVS and Zack Snyders Justice League. Who'd have thought, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love the whole like Dr. Manhattan rebuilding of the tape recorder.
That's what I was thinking about too. And nice. But no, I was actually going to bring that up too, Brandon. I was like, yeah, it's kind of got when you see even that still shot you put. I mean, that's very Dr. Manhattan, where he just he just puts it all back together like that. I'm like, oh, so Silas, his abilities are crazy.
It's pretty sweet.
What's crazy?
Actually reminded me more of Doctor Strange. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's great.
It wasn't an apple.
What is that? What is Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Dave, do we have access to your drops somehow?
I know, right? Somehow I do
that. Dave used one of those on me on Friday night on the vodka stream, and he kind of like baited me for it because he had it so quickly that I know that he was like, he's gonna say he hasn't watched this so he can roll that drop. And as soon as I said no,
I was ready. I was hovering over my mouth. All right.
Would you say that Dave is
watch this movie?
Would you say Dave is a master baiter?
Some would say that.
I don't speak for
it. Filthy show tonight. Filthy show.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Yeah. That's all right.
This is why they come here for this top-notch humor right here.
Right.
Oh my God. Great quality. Great quality.
But one of the things for me.
Though,
go ahead.
I want to say one last thing about this little sequence, though. With Ryan, that I'm like kind of a little pet. One of my pet peeves is the fidelity of the CG, and just this moment, like with his hand, like it feels so tangible. The way, like the mechanical noises between, like the way when he's picking up the actual tape recorder,
the screws in his thumb. I mean, the screws in his thumb. I mean, I noticed that stuff too. The attention to detail, and it looks just seamless. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Wow,
it's crazy,
and it's
crazy.
Also very clear that Sony and Mercedes were the dollar sponsors in this movie.
I don't get what you're getting at there. What are you talking about?
It's like watching the Spider-Man movie.
Right?
I know, right?
What did you guys think of the Venom trailer, by the way?
Oh, first tangents. All right.
I gotta see what's going on.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it was kind of all right. Yeah. What do you think, Matt? Go ahead. Matt, you're my come on.
Why me?
I want you to kind of rip into it. That's all.
I just want to hear what the Birds of Prey fan has to say about it.
I don't know how you know that. I've never said anything. You know what pissed me off about Birds of Prey? No, just kidding.
A tangent on top of a tangent.
Yeah, tangent on top of a tangent.
No, actually, the Venom trailer. Well, one, I could tell it really sucked ass because I only watched it once, so I had no desire to go back to it again.
Yeah,
so that was one thing that really stuck out to me. And two, it's just like you could not have said bootleg MCU movie more than that trailer because the beginning, I was just like,
that was
so. It's like I want the back and forth because that's what I liked about the first one, but not like that.
Right. There's a way to do it, and that's not the way to do it.
That wasn't the way to do it. Yeah, I mean,
it's been a while since I've seen. I don't think I've seen Venom since theaters. I own it, but I just haven't watched it since I bought it.
I think I rewatched it once, but that was it.
Did he sound like Cookie Monster in the first movie? Because he definitely sounds
I think it's
that
pretty
way.
much the same. It's Tom Hardy doing the voice, so yeah.
Yeah, no, he sounds very similar. But the thing is, the tone. It's kind of like in the first one, he's more degrading towards him, but now he's like kind of happier. So it's the same voice, but just happier,
right?
And so it's got more inflection to it. So it's just random, and I don't know. It's just this could not have been any more generic I don't know. It's obviously the first trailer. I was actually surprised that they showed Carnage. Sony just don't give a shit because anybody else would save, or they would do like a little reveal, like a little bit there, but no, they just flat out showed him in the first trailer. Call it good. It's on, and more than likely that ending scene that we saw where he's arguing with her about the chocolate, the store owner. That is the end of the movie right there because Sony shows the end of their movies in every trailer.
That's true.
So I guarantee that's the end of the movie.
It wasn't as sinister as I thought it was, or as I wanted. That was my biggest problem. It was MCU light. It should have been twisted, and you don't get that vibe from it at all. So I'm worried this is going to be Spider-Man 3 all over again.
You get like Jim Carrey Riddler vibes from fucking Cletus Cassidy. Like you that's what you get.
Which is great, by the way. Which is great.
Oh, yes.
Not in a Venom movie.
Isn't it just good?
Oh my god.
Yours was good. His was better. Anyway, it's just I don't know. I don't know. It's like, okay, you're introducing Carnage. Let there be carnage, and I felt like this is going to be more tame than the first movie. So, like, this could probably be borderline PG.
Instead of turning it up, If
I was going to pick something that I did enjoy, I would probably say the lethal injection sequence there.
And even the CGI looked good too. I mean, it looked fine to me.
Yeah. We have a buddy who he brought up kind of a good point. His issue with the first movie was like in the combat scenes. The lighting, you couldn't tell which symbiote was Venom, and I can kind of rewatching the trailer. I can kind of see how that might be an issue, even though he's red in this one, because he doesn't look like he's like.
They didn't get him like that real red and black, like that bright red and black look. He's kind of like he's a whatever. I don't know. I can't think of the different colors of red right now, but
maroon. Whatever's behind Brandon right now.
It's too bright. That's almost too bright.
Almost. You dressed for the occasion, Brandon. Good job.
Yeah.
Let there be carnage.
Thank you.
Right.
I am glad though that Woody Harrelson's not wearing that Carrot Top wig that he was in the first one. He cut his hair, and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice little change," because that thing looked ridiculous.
Yeah,
we all know what's going on, with Woody Harrelson's hair. So anytime he's wearing a piece, it is very noticeable, and that was pretty ridiculous at the end of it. It was just like. I was like,
he walks
what are you
outside.
Get out? You have a trunk full of goodies? Yeah.
So
I am excited.
I guess in summary, y'all loved it.
Andy Serkis taking over directing duties. I'm hoping that Serkis delivers. I didn't get to see Mowgli, so I don't know how that movie was in terms of directing.
It was pretty good, actually. I thought. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. Like, it popped up on Netflix, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this at some point, and then I just never got around to it. But we'll see.
All right, so. Scooting back to the DC side.
Squirrel.
What?
That's what we do.
Right. We do get a little shot with Aquaman, Mira, and Volko, where Aquaman kind of reveals that he's going to go find his father. I watched this when I was taking notes for the show. I realized like I got a Man of Steel kind of vibes, like Seaside vibes when Clark that goes up to the clothesline and stuff and takes clothes.
Oh yeah.
When I watched this scene, this go around for whatever reason.
I see that.
Yeah, but and then after that, we obviously have the Ryan Choi becoming the head of the Kryptonian ship site, the director of nanotechnology. So do y'all have anything with either of those sequences that stood out to you or that you enjoyed or didn't like?
That's his thing.
That's his thing. I mean, Snyder did a great job of setting him up, and we know that that's what he was exactly. I mean, when we heard that he was in it with that shot right there, we saw it in black and white that he posted on Vero a while back, and it was. I think a lot of us kind of thought, oh yeah, he's probably going to have like one little scene, but he was throughout the whole movie, which was surprising. And he had good back and forth with Silas, and we find out that Snyder was like, I was trying to set up an Atom movie. Full on Chinese cast, full on this, just making Warner Brothers.
Of course, he was
like morons again, which is great.
Yeah,
and
I thought all of this was just tying a perfect bow on this whole story, but also setting up future stories. So the point of the epilogue kind of summarize everything, but then at the same time he's setting up all of these. I go back to the interview with Jason Momoa when he talks about, it was like one of the first times that we heard about the Snyder Cut, one of the first, when he says, "Oh, I'm coming directly in Zack's cut. I'm coming directly from from that into Aquaman." So, was supposed to be the transition. And again, I think he's just setting up each of these characters. It's had a nice little bow on this story, but then propelled for what should have been the future.
Yeah. What's great about the epilogue too is like, it just reeks of like Zack just trying to set up so many possibilities that it makes Warner Brothers look so bad when they do nothing.
And it's what they wanted too.
Stuff.
Well, yeah. And it's what they wanted. They wanted these movies to be set up. They wanted this to happen, but yet they rip all this out. And I was going to kind of point this out with the twice farther over again thing. It's like why couldn't they just leave that in? Why did they give some of those lines to Lois in the theatrical? Like, Silas doesn't have to be dead for him to hit the recorder and and have it as a message. And then you can hear that over again. Like, he doesn't have to be dead. So if they took that element out, it doesn't. I mean, it loses some of its weight compared to the Zack Snyders Justice League. But still, it's a good thing to end on and transition through all these characters to see. And yet they just rip it out, and it's just like nothing makes any sense. And I'm rambling and ranting now, so it's going to be the same shit. It's going to be the same
what
shit.
This is for, man.
It's therapy on the CapeCast, like the CapeCast couch. I'm like, here we go.
CapeCast. Okay.
Well,
Tell me about
let me search that.
Not that couch, Shane.
Dang it. Well, now
I was talking about therapy, damn it.
Oh man,
right, so
another thing too, like that, I mean, just seeing, like, you even see, like, in that screenshot you had, Mara is like, they both, like, both Arthur and Mara are like, they both, like, just when they are around each other, they're like, why am I tingling? You can totally see, like, they're just like, man, you're kind of hot. It's like a kind of thing where even when he, like, saves her underwater, like, when he
there's that little look, and
that look, and then he gives that almost that same kind of look after he shakes Volko's hand. He's just like, God damn, like, it's just like, I'm like, he's got more clothes on this time. That sucks, or something. I don't know. Yeah. So you could see that build up right there, which is kind of cool.
I was surprised they didn't talk. I don't know why. I remember when Snyder originally teased this, and as Shane was talking about, when Momoa was talking about it, I thought they'd be talking to him at least, but they don't. If I remember right, they don't say anything at all. It's just he just starts talking to them.
Yeah, I think
dead
so.
Silent. They never say a word. So I was actually kind of surprised.
I'm sure there probably was something, and probably just maybe it didn't flow well or something. I don't know.
Yeah, not enough room in the 4-hour movie.
We got to trying to keep it a tight 4 hours. All right.
Yes, tight.
It is that. It is a tight 4 hours.
True. So next we move to the Hall of Justice. We get the Ben Affleck must be 150 feet, big round table, 6 chairs right there, but room for more. God help us.
So the God help us was not in Justice, right? They cut it before that, because I had a problem with the scene, because it felt like it is kind of weird how when you watch Justice, I always thought, I think a lot of people thought this was actually a reshot scene. Like, they were kind of like, oh, let's try to set up some more. And then I think I even said a while back, like, oh man, like, it almost seems like Affleck's phoning it in. But for some reason, they added of like that God help us makes the scene better for me. And then of course the filter looks so much better. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean,
I feel like the set extensions here are better in this version as well. It felt a little like super barren and like, low grade in terms of, incomplete almost in theatrical, but I felt like this version, which is, I think I remember Debbie and Zach also saying that a lot of the shots that were in the original theatrical that were still stuff that Zach shot, they had to go back and redo because they weren't up to snuff with what they would have, done if they had finished it. So it felt like that might have been the case.
I don't really recall, but isn't this the scene that Diana is in a different colored dress, but the dialogue is almost exactly the same?
Yes. Yeah. In Justice, she has like a different color. They made her dress look different, or it might have been red or something like that.
But nothing else is different aside from what you just mentioned, with the God help us part. But everything else is almost exactly the same. So it was just odd.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a pan in behind the chandelier in the beginning of it. I don't think that was in the theatrical when you really get that kind of pan around the chandelier to them walking into it. I think it kind of just shows them into that point right there, and then they start talking. So that's one small change. Again, adding it's more putting on the nose that chandelier is, you know, the chandelier from the nightmare scene and yada yada, that the Hall of Justice is blown up and everything. So
right.
Yeah.
I think also to your point, Dave, kind of like the God help us after, like, you just didn't feel in the theatrical, you just didn't feel the gravity of like how hard he worked and how desperate he was to get this team together and how difficult it was.
Yeah. And that could, be part, that could be part of it too, because you know, just Martian Justice, and then you get to that part, you're like, I don't know if Affleck's giving a shit or not right now. I mean, like, you don't know, because, and then, but then when you watch, you know, this version, you kind of see like, well, this is where Batman was going. He had all this like, hey, Faith, Alfred Faith, and this. So he's so open to that, I mean, when you watch the theatrical, maybe you're like, I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to feel about this. You know,
it came across incredibly corny in the theatrical, but then it's almost the same exact scene for the most part. And then, but because you have the gravity of everything setting up in the entire 4-hour long movie to this part, it just lands so much better and it makes so much more sense. And then everything that was kind of built with Martian Manhunter and you know that there's a bigger world versus in the theatrical version, you're kind of like, what? Okay, that it totally seemed like a Joss Whedon scene, and it totally seemed like it was pandering and just cheesy as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree with that.
Especially when you combine it with what's coming up next, A League of Their Own, which would have happened in 2017. So it feels like they're building up to this like big team versus the other team. So yeah, it does feel kind of corny and forced.
Yeah. We do next. We kind of get a little Henry Allen, Barry Allen interaction where Barry gets a job in a crime lab. I love kind of like the eccentric nature of Henry Allen in this whole sequence. He's just like, he's like, you're gonna get tased. Barry's like, you're gonna get tased again, Dad.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, I mean, what I like about
his foot's in the door.
Yeah. What I like about what Zach did is like, I mean, you got a guy who did not kill. We know that he didn't kill his wife, but he's accused of that. He's stuck in prison, you know, and so he's kind of maybe a little. There's a screw loose where he's just over, you know. Even the scene before that when he's just telling Barry, "Don't stop visiting me." You know, he full on is like, I mean, that's a depressing scene. And this one is like the opposite, where he's like, he's overly happy, where it's like, whoa, look at him. And even Barry's like, hey, yeah, you're gonna get tased again. I'm like, geez, or something, you know, whatever. You know, it's like, stop it. But it's a, you know, it's a really good scene. It goes with the father thing with the Silas talking because, you know, he's like, that's my boy. I taught him nothing he knows. I love that line. I taught him nothing. That great line. Such a great line.
I actually didn't really care for the dialogue too much in this scene. It was okay, but I felt that the performance of the actors was what made it. And that the one line of I taught him nothing he knows was amazing. And it was okay, but like you could feel the emotion between the two, and I think that's what really made the scene for me. Some of the stuff of like my foot's in the door, is that something that people say? That was okay. Not some of my favorite dialogue, but
you like job, right? Job? It's a job?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like a job. Yeah. And he also the no stopping you now. You love all the little like flash references and all these interactions.
The chemistry between, I mean, they only have 2 scenes together, but the chemistry between the two of them is really great.
Yeah.
Especially like
I can't wait to see them in the flash. Oh. Sorry.
Oh no!
I know. I just brought down the mood. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, like especially when like Barry gets that final, like, you know, he's like, "Thanks, Daddy." Like he finally gets that, you know, approval that he's looking for. Is a great moment, as you know, as you want.
I mean, this, in all honesty, this whole scene just after that flash sequence at the end of the movie, where you realize how much their last conversation impacted him with what the lines he delivers when he's in the Speed Force. It's just, he has a way. Zach has a way of making these moments pretty freaking heavy.
That bastard.
And that dialogue in the last part, and when he's entering the Speed Force, I absolutely loved. And I guess some people didn't really care for it that much, I guess, because he's kind of talking to nobody. He's talking to himself, but I feel like it was so self-motivating.
Yeah.
And so just like, and you're absolutely right, just heavy. And you know, he's talking to his dad. Like it's awesome. I thought it was incredibly well done.
And for all he knows, it's a suicide mission that he's going
exactly.
on.
He doesn't know what's going to happen. He's never done this before. Everybody could die. He could die. It's just like, you know, it's similar to like Crisis on Infinite Earth when he's running and he's talking to himself. I need to save the world. I need to do this. And then he just kind of becomes a raisin.
It's very Barry Allen. I mean, that's the thing. It's like anybody has a problem with this. Like, no, it's very Barry Allen for him to be like, talking to himself. Yeah. I mean, so it's so great. Yeah.
Yep. I love how Zach, you know, the Flash is more of a lighthearted character in general. And I love how he, from the set pieces to the Central City speed limit sign to all the speed references and how they're talking back and forth to each other. He has a way. It's amazing how he's able to like weave a very different tone of character in with this post BVS super dark film and just make it completely seamless when he's doing it.
I think that's what I love about this movie so much is the fact that you feel every emotion, but every emotion in every scene has enough time for it to breathe. You know, I would imagine, not to crap on the MCU, but I would imagine like, you know, after Silas Stone dies, like Flash would have a joke. You know what I mean? But he doesn't. But then Flash does have some jokes, and there's such a blend in like every emotion. Yes, it feels epic in certain sense, and it feels very hopeful and joyful as people want. But then there's also the gravity of intense situations and death and consequences, and it's the whole gambit of everything. And I that's why it's up there. You know, it's one of the best.
It's just such, all of the comedy too is just so tasteful. Like there's no undercutting of like the Superman's scene in the cornfield where he talks about smelling good in the theatrical. That I'm a Superman fan, and like I've been waiting years for the reunion of Lois Lane and Clark Kent,
right?
And that's what I get when I go into the theater.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
There's time and place for comedy. Yep. That's not it. Comedy, but
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not saying it was a great line because it's not, but I know that they had to change it to something, and that's the only thing they could come up with to make it fit because he spoke in the theatrical in Heroes Park. So like, all right, what can we make him say that would get a little like?
Because he didn't say anything. Yeah, this one.
Yeah. So I mean.
And it was funny too because I always thought it was like, well, maybe, is that a Snyder line? Because that's a Snyder shot, and everybody's like, no, it's got to be voiceover. And I'm like, are we sure? I'm like, I hope so. And then, things. Because for a minute there, I was thinking, I was like, okay, is this how Lois gets pregnant? I mean, they go in the house.
They don't have to go in the house; they go in the cornfield, man.
No one from
Didn't Deborah Snyder talk about how that actually almost made it back into the Snyder Cut because they didn't know it was a Snyder shot and they didn't realize the ADR was sticking.
Thank God for a man.
That would have floored the shit out of so many people.
What? Yeah. And I would have been like, I told you guys.
I've always known.
That's when movie magic fails right there. Like it's amazing that you can have some sort of like dub over a scene, some voiceover, but then at the same time, like it's just delivered so poorly and it's so terrible. Like why did you choose to do that?
Right.
Why is there this technology? It makes me wonder.
I think that's part like Ryan, I remember we debated if that was a Snyder line or not because Cavill doesn't have the messed up mouth in that scene. I was like, so
that's the same with me. I was like, are we sure that it's not a Snyder line? And then man.
Yeah.
Thank God she cut
it. All makes sense.
Yeah,
for sure.
I do remember like kind of in the back of my head when I was watching this because there were so many cringy dialogue moments and theatrical. I watched this for the first time, and I was kind of like, all right. When moments were coming up when I knew of a line that was, delivered in a theatrical that I hated, I was like, please don't do it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You're kind of like cautiously approaching the scene, like, please no.
Right. Snack hole. I think snack hole to me was the biggest one. Oh yeah, snack hole to me. I was shocked that was in there because it was crazy to me. Because my thing was it obviously had to be a Wiedenstein, because when they get in the car, you can't see the pizza box. So it's like clearly a stupid line, like, oh, it'd be funny if Barry comes out with a pizza box and he's eating this stuff, and then when the Snyder scene comes in, it's the pizza box isn't there. But thanks to Snyder making it 4x3 due to his thing, now you can see the pizza box. Thanks to now that it's in 4x3, because now you can see the top and bottom. So now you actually do see the pizza box inside the car. So I was like, oh, thanks for the 4x3. Now it makes sense. Stupid prop.
Yeah. So next we move to the Kent farm. We get Bruce basically purchasing the house back from Martha. But purchasing the bank to get the house back.
And even like, I mean, I've always said this, but I love how Bruce really, put on his moving clothes. A nice little suit, a jacket and everything. I mean, that's what you show up to move.
And Superman.
I noticed he wasn't like, you need any help with that?
Yeah. Superman hired movers also. Like
all these movers and everything. He's got a pregnant wife. She's lifting stuff in there, and he's just talking.
He's not wearing the glasses. I mean, this has always been my thing. I've always been like, there's got to be like a couple of guys that are moving a china cabinet or going like, hey, dude, hey, John. Dude, that's Superman over there, dude. Is that Superman? Like, what the hell?
It's like that scene from Man of Steel, like, oh, be careful with that bag, it's heavy. And he's just like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. But next time he's like, nah, I'm not going to do shit. I'm back. I'm going to hit the lazy boy.
I hadn't thought about that at all. Now this movie is broken for me. Thanks, you ruined
it. Hey, this Superman's questionable. He steals clothes. He doesn't help people with their movements. Hashtag not my Superman.
I'd rather have someone that goes back to a bar and bullies somebody.
Yeah, at least mess your hair up, Clark. Just like, or put a hat on or something.
Yeah,
he's wearing denim. That's what's really going to throw him away.
Yeah, and the flannel jacket. Yeah, nobody will recognize me.
Do you guys remember that? That I think it was Jimmy Kimmel BVS thing that he did where he was at the party, the library party. That was great. You just made me reminded me of that when you guys were talking about it. No, that's Batman. That's Superman.
Yeah, that was great. Even the outtakes.
Guys, it's Batman and Superman.
Yeah. Oh man.
But you do notice too in this that Lois is carrying a bassinet into the house versus a U-Haul box.
I mean, that was funny too, and finding that out, and it was just like, yep, that's part of the double filming of, hey, Snyder, do this, and then he goes, yeah, okay, I'll do that, but I'm also gonna shoot what I want to shoot. And
Deborah, do we still have an old bassinet somewhere? Bring it to set.
I got something to put it in there. Exactly. Add to it. We're not gonna just full on say she's pregnant. We're just gonna, give little hints.
There's actually people confused that I still see people confused whether or not she's pregnant. Like after all this, like after what they say and everything, I was like, wow, that is the true.
I need to see that positive test, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, not even the test. Like people just thought the test was like, oh, it was just something there. Like, that's just something people leave in a drawer, I guess. I don't know. But I actually preferred the U-Haul box because it tied back with Man of Steel throwing U-Haul trucks. I thought it was great product placement. It's way better. It fits the continuity, Zach.
All right, confirmed. Matt's a Whedon lover. Right. I always knew it.
That's not good.
Next we get the Cyborg at the grave, where I can't help but laugh at this scene because he's got that like sweat jacket on, and he like drops it off, and there's like a whoosh noise, and then they show him like like it's almost like he stripped his clothes down. Like
he looks like he came out of a Cialis commercial. How much he's smiling right now, and the way he's got his hands, like
okay. Your next video, if you have like a little cut to that, hilarious. Some music like that.
We kind of used that once because it says after 4 hours if you still have this, and like that was perfect for the movie. After 4 hours, if you still have it. We did use that once. We did use that once, but it can always come back. People forget.
Oh man.
No, I mean, it is nice that he's like proud of him. So he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna like, hey, shed the clothes and just kind of, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be this person.
No, I love the sentiment for sure. Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, Brandon and I have said multiple times. I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody in this movie who like shines from an acting standpoint, it's Ray Fisher, hands down. I mean, there's really not anyone close to it, in my opinion, at least. Yeah. So next, Brandon, we got a little bat sequence here for you.
Oh, so good.
I realized too. I think you remember when they did the behind the scenes for Fandom. I think the video where Zack turns the bat signal on and the camera rig like floats up into the sky.
It had to be a drone, right? I always thought it was a drone.
I don't know. It could be. It could be
some kind of when they had that.
I imagine it's like a motion controlled crane type thing.
Okay, yeah. I always thought like maybe it was a drone or something because it seemed like it kind of,
it's too good of an arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's following a line or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be probably a little too choppy. Yeah.
It'd be funny. It'd be like,
oh shit!
Just at the very end, hit shit.
Yeah, destroyed another one.
Yeah, right. Hit a bird, a bat.
So that's why this movie costed $70 million.
Yeah, that's why all the broken drone shots. No, but it's a good shot. Because like you said, you get Batman on top of the tank or the War Machine, whatever you want to call it, and of course he sees, and then come to find out that we were like, nobody, people started noticing. Wait a minute, are those guys wearing certain kind of glasses on their eyes? Oh, Zack, you slippery weasel, you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
So do you think that was actually? So I'm curious. Does anybody actually think that was? Like any kind of shot, because to me that whole thing looks CG.
Oh, it's all
like
CGI.
Everything, and it looks like something he's added later. Yeah. Because originally it was like him on the bat plane, like floating up and stuff, and
I would not be surprised if that was something that was added. That was
because even Batflick, like the Batflick, looks like a CGI double.
Yeah,
kind of standing there.
Yeah, it is.
So it looks like that's something he just wanted to put that tank in. I think they had concept art and he just wanted to throw it in. It's just one line,
and throw like the mutant guys in there. It's like
also made for some great trailer buzz.
Yeah,
that was good.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and especially when that was the first trailer, and we're like, "Oh my god, the tank is gonna be in it." Turns out it was, it's just gonna be for this awesome shot.
Yeah. See, that's one of those things that as fans we hype things up too much because I thought the tank. I thought the tank was going to be involved like with the parademon nest or something. Yep. I thought that's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, that seems to make sense to me. Why else would he have that tank? Is to take down some parademon's nest. No, it's a nice little hurrah shot at the end. Yeah. It's cool, man. Yep. Cool. That's all that matters.
All that we need.
We get a shot of Wonder Woman with the Arrow of Artemis, and
another great silhouette shot that I love so much.
Center frame, like you always talk about with this movie. But like Zack has I think Zack's kind of mentioned it that I think it was maybe in the storyboards. I can't remember, but Wonder Woman eventually goes home to Themyscira. And the dialogue with Hippolyta's dialogue when she shoots the arrow and everything would seem to indicate that that's kind of what her next
makes sense.
Deal is.
It's her looking like missing, contemplating what Steppenwolf said was true or not about killing her mom and stuff like that. Thinking about all that. I know in those whiteboards what it is, she uses the lasso of truth on herself to get back her memory to find Themyscira. That was going to be in Justice League 2 or 3, I can't remember, but that's what those whiteboards were saying was going to happen. Yeah. So eventually, that is her destiny to get back to Themyscira and everything. Yeah. So
That's interesting. I still haven't broken down and read those whiteboards.
That's how I've seen little things here and there. I just don't want to.
No, it's okay.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we hear about it all the time. I pick up on little things, but I'm just like, I can't like bring myself to do it. I'm like, oh, surely we're going to see this in a movie still in the back of my head. Somewhere.
Well, if Shane ever eliminates a kid, we have eventually going to break it down. He's just got to eliminate like 3 kids. We'll eventually get to it.
I can save one. Okay, that's good.
Now, we can have one.
Eventually.
So next we get a quick little shot of the Flash running through Central City, I imagine.
It's so goofy.
It's so goofy, but so great.
I know. I mean, when it comes to character development with him, he's just now so happy because he has friends. He's now got like exception. You know, his father is now going, oh my God, you have a job now. Everything is going right in him. So I could see why he's just running through Central City with a goofy smile on his face.
Probably stalking Iris West.
Yes,
you
know. Just he just picked on her naked. I mean,
she's got a real bright burn real quick.
That's the real reason why he's smiling so much. He just peeked in on her, while she was getting.
He just came back from her hotel or her apartment.
Yeah. Then next we get the Superman shirt pull, and Superman guy, I'm a sucker for this.
Yeah. Which surprised me. I'm not going to lie, because I'm pretty sure that this was probably forced upon Zack to like, hey, we have to have this. And I think he was, for the most part, okay. Like, okay, let's do it because, I mean, it's iconic. Yeah. We haven't seen, because we all kind of still wonder, how does Clark Kent come back from the dead? Anybody? We saw the obituary in the newspaper. Sure. I was kind of hoping we get clarification on like, how does he come back into the world? We don't really get that. Okay, but we still get this iconic shot. And then I was surprised that it was still the black and silver.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That part was a little bit disappointing because I thought that would have been a good opportunity. I know we saw in the one nightmare scene, he's selling the black and silver, but I thought that would have been a good opportunity to be like, I guess maybe to all the haters, that's what I wanted. Is okay, see, here's the transition. Now he's the classic Superman again. So you have the classic, Superman suit underneath, but it was still cool and it's an iconic moment. And I'm a sucker for it as well. I think my biggest part is I felt, to me anyways, that this is where the epilogue should have ended. Like I imagine that like if this is, because then after this we start getting into the Lex Luthor stuff, right? Yeah. And so like if that's the last shot, because supposed to be a Superman story arc, and from Man of Steel, BVS, and now Justice League, his resurrection, you get that awesome shot, and I'm sure part of it is you don't want like a post-credit scene or something like that, but maybe name the other stuff differently. Like this was
epilogue part 2.
0.5, I don't know.
Otherwise known as
part 2B. Yeah.
Zack, stop.
Yeah. Well, I could see that as the movie was supposed to be. That was probably supposed to be the ending shot.
Oh yeah, it definitely.
And then the Lex Luthor stuff, possibly a post-credit scene. I don't know if it would have kept going, because I know Snyder's kind of anti post-credit scene, right. So I don't know if he would have done that or not. But I have a feeling that probably was supposed to be somewhat of an ending shot. Kind of call it right there.
Yeah. So when I watch it, I actually fast forward to the credits and then I rewind it and then watch and say, "Oh, boom! See, it's a post credit."
There you go. I know that he has that hang up with it, as far as not wanting to do that, leave it all on the, as far as the movie itself, have it all connected. I think that a lot of people that have complained about this movie feeling like it's kind of like a Return of the King keeps going at the end, like it would have helped to have like maybe like an end credits like sequence, and so that you have like a how they do like a stylized like credit sequence where it's like just showing the actors, and they typically have this like crazy animation going on. They could have did that, but I know that you don't want to copy Marvel, even though they're not the originators of that kind of thing.
No,
what?
By any means.
Who else didn't?
or even really post credit scenes. That's what's frustrating. Is I don't know.
Yeah, but the two sequences, the Lex sequence and the nightmare sequence, do feel disconnected from the rest of the movie.
It does. Yeah.
So having them as a mid and then an end would help give it a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
But,
do you think it would have worked if they would have done the Lex Luthor scene a little bit earlier somehow, and we just kind of kept going? Or
I think so, because it does. Well, yeah, like it does change. But then at the same time, the way that it ends with the music, it is kind of cool. I don't know why. Like, I mean, just because that's more Zimmer's music, right? That they use. Yeah, it's like more Zimmer than
Library, Lex House.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but I mean, because it was funny because I think the first 3 times I always went, wait, what was next? I always kind of went, oh yeah, I forgot what's next, and I was like, oh yeah, Luthor's next. And for some reason, so it does kind of feel like, oh yeah, it's like another movie just about to start right now. It almost could have been titled another chapter or part, right? You almost could have thought it could have been, like you said, epilogue part 2 or epilogue. Zach, stop your movie.
We're running out of film.
And the stuff with the Silas Stone voiceover, and then you're getting all the heroes. It's such a crescendo of yes, boom, and then the movie ends, and so when it just kind of keeps going, as DC fans were like, oh yeah, I love it, keep going. But I can also see the complaint of this is still going. What? That should have been it right there.
and I've heard the complaints from other reviewers saying oh yeah, I mean, like you said, Return of the King status, where it's is this gonna ever stop? It just keeps going. So I mean, but I like it. But of course, we all like it. We like the work we do and everything like that. But at the same time, maybe I feel like it was rearranged differently. Maybe it would have flowed a little better. I don't know.
He did talk about because remember it was originally supposed to be a mini series, at least in concept when this first thing started anyway. So maybe there was a different. Maybe at one point he did have a different, because I think he did say they did rearrange something slightly when the mini series thing went. Try not to cuss.
Went to poop.
My vocabulary sucks.
Yeah. When it poopies their pants.
I know 7 words. That's it. Anyway. So when that whole concept went bye-bye, I think maybe some things got rearranged and changed up a little bit. Maybe I could almost see that Lex Luthor thing ending a part 5 or something. And it could end it there, and then part 6 kicks up with them going to fight Steppenwolf. So,
I was just thinking that sequence that they debuted on the IGN Fan Fest that they were, I guess, were originally using for the opening credits. It's just a YouTube thing now. Would have been a cool thing to have, because that thing's so awesome. It's such a shame.
I don't know why
it lives on.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. And a lot of us were contemplating that. It was how would a Zack Snyder opening miniseries be with this? And I think a lot of us went to the Watchmen opening. If you saw the Justice League fighting in that slow motion style that they did with Watchmen, I think a lot of us were kind of going, does he have something like that? And instead, he had something even cooler, which was, hey, we're going to show all the different characters on the mother box, and things are going to be Easter eggs all throughout it that you see that would have been the opening scene with some Junkee XL, So that's why I mean, as much as I love watching the full 4 hours, just to have it as that series would have added something to it, just to have those openings with that sequence.
Yeah. I'm unfortunately, as Matt pointed out, all my kids, I'm too busy. So I've watched it a bunch of times since, but it's always in parts. So I would definitely prefer that version where it's mini now. The first couple watch throughs, it's cool to watch it in one sitting, but I don't have 4 hours just to sit.
I know so many people that watched the parts. They really did. The parts actually helped.
Yeah.
It really the pausing and breaking down at this point and that. It was really funny though. One of the guys at my work finally got HBO Max because he wanted to see Mortal Kombat. And sucks for him, but he finally got it. He's tells me, he's all right, finally I'll watch Justice League. And so he starts watching it, and he actually went to the theater with me in 2017. And he starts kind of telling me about it. He's like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool and everything. And he's all the way now finally to chat. He's at part 5, right? And he's about to get into part 6. And then he's talking to me about it. He's like, man, I don't get it though. Why is this movie in black and white? And I was like, and I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, it's all in black and white. I'm like, wait, your first watch through, you're watching the Justice is Gray version? He's like, what the hell is that? there's only one of them. I'm like, no, there's two of them. You got to. Oh, I'm gonna watch the last part in color.
Right. I gotta get to part 5.
It's gonna be like Wizard of Oz for him now. He'll watch the next one and be like, oh my gosh, look how beautiful it is.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was laughing pretty hard. And then sort of my other coworker who's been kind of following this a little bit more, he's like, well, tell him why it was gray. Tell him why it's black and white. You want to tell him. Like, I'm not telling him because he can't understand. He's like, why is this movie in black and white? And I'm like, well, there's a reason.
Hilarious. You didn't see the whole gray? It literally says Justice is Gray.
I don't know how you get to it because, to be honest, to me, the only way I can find Justice is Gray if I click on the original one and then it's down at the like recommended little tab on the bottom. So I don't know how he got there first. I have no idea. It makes
He's
no
new
sense
to HBO Max. He's trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Damn, that's funny.
Yeah. Speaking of that, just to derail just for a second, Dave mentioned the Watchmen intro. Did you guys see all the headlines today about Army of the Dead? Like people were like comparing the intro to.
I would not. I'm not surprised. I mean, like when Zach mentioned that, I mean, you basically it starts off with you get a montage of the invasion happening. Like we're gonna get an intro with Zeus, and then he escapes Area 51. We see him like, oh yeah, he's up. There's Vegas. Time to time to go to work right there. And then, we're probably gonna get this crazy slow motion Zack Snyder style intro. That's gonna be gory. It's gonna be oh man, it's gonna be so good.
I mean, I don't want to compare movies, but I pictured Zombieland kind of.
Yeah.
You know.
Falling down and shit.
I don't want to get you copyrighted. I won't keep that going. I won't keep going.
There's a lot of reasons I want to punch Joss Whedon in the face, but one of the biggest ones is the fact that he like ripped off Zack Snyder for Justice League so it kind of makes you think like, that's a good song, and it makes you feel like
a lot of people were wondering, like, that was Zack Snyder opening, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we all feel like that had to be,
exactly.
Right? It's all bootleg shit,
The fact that he duped me.
We had so many people in our comments saying that that's a Snyder thing, and I'm like, no, I don't think it is. No, it's clearly a Snyder thing because of this and that. I'm like, no, it feels too. No, I don't think it is because it's just some of the shots and everything.
Yeah, there's a couple things that's forced.
Sure. It just feels forced as hell, and it's like I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, this is not a Snyder thing. Stuff. Yeah, so. But anyway,
I tried.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's almost like he knew his fate. Like he almost like he did. He was like, you know what, this is it for me. Why did I take this? Shit. Yeah.
We'll just CG the mustache out. It's gonna be fine, guys. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter anyways.
Oh man.
I love the fact that even Marvel fans are turning on him. It's pretty awesome. I'm starting to see stuff. I'm like, he got lucky with Avengers. I'm like, and the truth shall set you free.
I will say today too, it's kind of related, kind of not. So I don't know if you guys follow Lights Camera Barstool at all, but they like anytime they post anything Snyder, it just gets. I mean, usually it's like some people in there defending, but with their thing when they post something, it just gets hammered. And today they posted on their story that was about the Brainiac and Kryptonians Man of Steel 2 deal, and the question that they posed was, do you want WB to restore the Snyderverse? And it was like 90 to 10% yes on there.
Oh wow.
I was like, what?
It was actually like a flip from what you would expect.
I'm telling you, man, like what Zach's going to be doing like right now. I mean, when it comes to these junkets, he was slowly just going to make Warner Brothers look like assholes again. I mean, I
think just people are finally hitting people now with the Superman reboot and everything. Because there's like, as much as they may not like the Snyder movies, they still like the cast. And now they're realizing the cast is going by. Henry Cavill is going, he's going to be reduced to possibly just cameo roles at best in some existing movies. And that's it. And they're going in a completely different direction.
So
and it's finally hitting, I think, some of these dumbasses that a lot of us have been saying, like, hey, you need to pay attention. This is what they're doing. They are, as Snyder just recently said, they are aggressively anti-Snyder. And it's like it's so personal that I don't think it mattered what the number. We all thought the numbers were going to matter, but at some point, it doesn't seem like the numbers were ever going to matter because it's just so personal at this point. And
if these numbers didn't matter, then no numbers were going to matter because.
No, I mean, if the numbers were good, people's jobs were going to be like in jeopardy. That's the thing. The thing. It's like there are people like, basically pooping their pants because they're going to lose their jobs or something like that. That's the thing. It's like they're afraid. I mean, and then all of a sudden we get this article about Toby Emmerich. Somebody trying to pitch him over to Netflix. I mean, even though he has 18 months still left, it was just kind of weird that. I mean, first off, it came out, the day of the same with the Black Superman, the same day of Cavill's birthday, which is it's stupid and weird. But at the same time, you kind of go like, is there a shakeup happening? Like, it seems like there's something going on where all of a sudden this Toby Emmerich article comes out. Even though it was basically nothing, it was just kind of strange.
WB it's been 6 months since a major leadership change at WB. They're due for one because they cannot hold they cannot
a little overdue.
Yeah. That's crazy. So next we kind of get the escape of Lex Luthor. Well, after he's already escaped, but and we kind of saw this.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg really went for it right here, huh?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He did meth for 18 months.
Yeah. He's unrecognizable, just like Leo DiCaprio. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
That New York.
You mean the guy that looks like Leonardo DiCaprio? That's right there.
It's like that just looks like Leo hasn't slept in 3 days and smoked a bunch of cigarettes. That's all. You guys okay? Sorry.
I will say too, when I watch this sequence, they how they start from back where the prison guard is in his little and as they're like getting closer, to this day I maintain that they had Jesse Eisenberg standing there until like he gets in the room and the guy turns around. Like his build looks exactly like Jesse Eisenberg. Like he doesn't have like a wrinkly neck and wrinkly head like this guy does. I don't know.
So?
I don't know if you guys have ever thought about that.
It's possible. I don't know if they would utilize Eisenberg for that just because of
kind of double
logistics. Yeah. But yeah,
could be Zach.
They could have definitely. I mean, they could have pulled. How in Two Towers when you have the Sauron Gandalf reveal when it is Christopher Lee before it's they use it to kind of fool them and fool the audience. But yeah, I don't think it's Eisenberg, but it could be a double.
Maybe the same thing. Yeah, same concept. Didn't think about that.
But yeah,
that shot. I was about to say the shot of Arkham. I mean, to get a Zack Snyder shot of Arkham, so good. I mean, look at that. I mean, just to get another.
Makes you want that Batfleck movie, doesn't it?
Right? And we would have probably got that aesthetic too for his. And I'm like, oh man, there's Arkham right there. Just the way it panned out. And I was just going,
That and the last scene from Batman Forever, man. That's the only time we ever get to see Arkham in the movie.
Both really good dark versions of Arkham, what they look like. I mean, that's why I want to see that Schumacher cut. I want to see more of what he was trying to go for right there because I always liked the Arkham shots in that movie. And like I said, just having Zack Snyder's version was like, yep, there you go. There it is. And that would have been Ben Affleck's version probably. So sad. But Arkham Home was interesting. It didn't say Asylum. It just said Arkham Home.
Yeah.
Something unique, different, something that he put in there, which was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yep. Stamp on it. Yeah. Then we get the Deathstroke boat sequence where he's going out to visit Lex. Man, I love that shot
of like his, like flat the little part like flapping right there, and it's like it's almost like he's almost using that dream lens. Probably not, but I mean it's just because it's out of focus, and then it's just the way that he utilizes the focus on that. I love that.
It's just such a great that's just such a iconic part of his get up, and it's just an awesome way to
who it is.
Yeah.
And I always find it funny too when I watch it with people who have no idea about any of this stuff. why does he look like Deadpool? I get that all the time. And I just go like, well, Deadpool is actually a kind of a parody of this guy.
I was going to say, why does he look like, why does Deadpool look like him?
Yeah. Well, even my nephew, when Luthor went, we said Mr. Wilson, he goes, wait a minute, Wilson? I'm like, his name is Slade Wilson. What? I'm like, again, Wade Wilson, parody of this guy.
I don't know if you guys, it's one of my son's favorite movies, but have you seen Teen Titans Go to the Movies? And that's a long running joke in that movie, or maybe not long running, but I know a couple of times they call him Deadpool, which I thought was funny. They were able to get away with that. It was awesome.
Slade.
Exactly.
So great. And I love how he gets off the boat like nice and quick. Like the boat just like pulls up and he just gets on it, on the yacht quickly. I'm like, I was kind of every time I watched it, I'm like, is that CG or did whoever was in that suit? I don't know if it was Joe or stunt double. Did he just jump right onto the boat real quickly?
Because Ben Affleck getting off helicopters.
Right.
Yeah.
Just without it stopping. Yeah. Right.
This
I remember this sequence when we saw this in theaters, Ryan. Okay. This sequence got the biggest response out of anything in the theatrical version. Like people just lost their minds when he steps on the boat and you see that silhouette.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure. I love the lighting, like the sunset and the sky. But you just know Zach was like, all right, we've got 3 minutes to get this shot. Lighting's perfect.
No kidding. I love Manganiello now too, even before, but he's riding this high and he even has his wife, Sofia Vergara, involved in pumping it up on social media and stuff. And he's loving it. He's such a big nerd too. It seems like, it's awesome. It's too bad.
Agree. And we finally get our bald, suited up Lex here. And man, what I would give to see him.
I dig it.
In a full on Lex Luthor role against Superman like this.
And bald, I know.
Yeah.
What were just curious, out of you three guys, what was your initial reaction to Lex and BVS? Like, were you all aboard on him, or did it take you some time to come around to him? Or are you still not on board? Just curious.
I know I was all aboard because I was like, please don't have another Lex Luthor that's trying to sell land.
Yeah.
I don't want that. So I was actually happy when I was hearing the details of this is a more modern version and it's taken off of more of a birthright Lex where, and the comparisons. And I went, okay, good. Something different. And it's going to lead up again when it comes to these characters, like Zach's like, all right, we're going to start them here. Then they're going to get to that point where people go, oh, that's the guy. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, right here, this is the Lex Luthor that people recognize, bald, and he's manipulating people and going, hey, we're definitely I'm going to give you the identity of Batman for you to go after him because he pissed me off. He didn't get what I wanted. Yeah. So F him.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Eisenberg and I know a lot of haters make this comparison, but I really liked Eisenberg in the Social Network movie. And this is him turned up even more. And so to me, it worked. And I agree, Dave. I even as, big Superman fan, I was over kind of the redone version of Lex Luthor, and I was open to something different. And there were a couple moments I would say that I had to get used to, and I did after watching several times because it's just a little wonky, and his delivery or his deliverance of lines and things are different than what you would typically expect. But after I love it, and I would absolutely love to see more of that version that has now evolved into maybe a blend, not quite like what we're familiar with, but a blend between the two.
Yeah, and I think one more thing to add too. I think I like the fact that Luthor, when he's been portrayed before, he's been this striking man, tall and even built and everything like that. I like the fact that Senator no, we're gonna make him more opposite than Superman. He's gonna be a shorter, frail, skinnier, childlike, kind of person more than
his
awkward and
and his it's great because the danger in his character is his psychotic brilliance in these movies, and you just haven't seen that before.
Yeah,
in my opinion, at least.
I know for me, The theatrical version, I guess, because of my frustration with some of the theatrical version of some of the things that were left out, and it actually affects his plan. I wasn't so on board with the character. I didn't mind the weird ticks and stuff, and the God complex I thought was kind of cool. But he didn't come around for me until he didn't become Lex Luthor for me until I saw the Ultimate Edition. And when you actually really see how the plan comes about, then he feels like Lex Luthor. He feels like this guy that does have this plan. It's crazy, it's insane, but he does have this plan, and he's trying to drive this wedge between these two superheroes, and and everything else he's doing.
Plan, yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy plan. It's a long list, but it works. And so I guess at first he wasn't like high on my radar, like, oh, that's a great villain and stuff like that. I didn't mind some of those things, but it was when the Ultimate Edition came out and I got to see how the things were executed and the plan went out. I was like, okay, yeah, he's up there. This is Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's kind of where I felt like I was like indifferent. Like there was some things I liked, some things that rubbed me the wrong way in theatrical. But as time progressed and seeing the Ultimate Edition, he's one of the characters that I kind of came to love the most in that.
And he has some of the best jokes too.
Oh
yeah.
I remember the Jolly Rancher part. Shane and I were laughing. We were the only ones in the theater laughing. I was the only two laughing.
Man.
He's like, "Come over to my office," and he takes like 3 steps, and it's
like,
right.
Oh yeah, and then,
power move too.
Even when Superman approaches him and he's like, "You lost," and he's like, "Ah, I don't know how to lose." You know, it's just the way that he's responds to that. I don't know how to lose. You know, and he has some really great lines in BVS.
Dude,
I mean, it's just so many good lines.
Terrio shines so much with the Lex stuff.
My gosh, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. I mean, and then
laying
just like
low in the morning, Lola and slacks.
Yeah. And then just that scene where, I mean, because I remember seeing the trailer and like everybody's going, "Oh, Lex Luthor brings Superman down to his knees. How does he do that?" And then we see how he does it. It's like, oh man, I mean, he went for the freaking, he went for the main artery in the neck. He went for the mom, and with the Polaroids and everything. I mean, it's a dark scene.
In that scene, I love how, I don't know. Before you're like, don't kill me. I don't know.
Yeah. He's so like just so all over the place, and it's just I really.
And he brought back Polaroids, man.
Exactly.
Just before Superman came there, he was like trying to dry him and shit.
Thank God it's windy up here. It's windy up here.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I do remember that scene in the trailer, thinking it was probably more of like a kryptonite or something.
Remember, we thought Bizarro.
Yeah, like something that physically was different, not mentally messing with him.
Yeah, for sure. So we do get the dialogue, back and forth dialogue here with Deathstroke and Lex, where Lex says, "Just celebrating God's return out of the ground and back up into the sky."
Good line.
Says, and then why the pro bono work? Deathstroke says it's personal. And Lex says, "If you want the Batman, here's something that can help you. His name is Bruce Wayne."
And he gives
give me this series now.
The one thing I wonder about this is like it is pretty quick where like Slade's just like, "Oh, well then, okay, I believe you, sir." And I kind of wonder like, is there like some backstory where he already suspected? Like I kind of wonder, like, did he already suspect, like, I think I've been trailing this guy because of our history and blah, blah, blah. And you just confirmed with what I already kind of knew. Because I think it's too quick for him to be like totally oblivious to who Batman is, to him just being like, I knew it. Like he just gives me that smile that he gives instantly is like he knew it. You just confirmed that I knew. Confirmed, exclusive. So Bruce Wayne's Batman. So I think that's what I got from that scene. I think maybe like the second or third time I went, you know what? I think Slade already kind of knew, and it's just you got to confirm by someone who's essentially a genius. And there you go. So
give me that series.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, just Deathstroke right into Batfleck. I mean,
God. When Joe was explaining, little sequences here and there with when he's talking about Batgirl, oh my gosh, like
I know. When I talked to him, I was like, were you part of the writing process? What did you know? I was trying to get, and he's all, and he kind of like got thrown off when I even said that. He was like, was I what? And I was like, did you were part of the writing process? Like, did you give ideas, dude? He's all, no, I was just reading freaking rough drafts. I'm like, okay, well, what were they saying? Yeah. I know.
Yeah, that seemed like he was a hard nut to crack when
you. A little bit. You know, I mean, thank God for our love of Metallica. That kind of broke the ice a little bit. Yes, but he was a little bit rough, and then but
had his wall up a little bit. Yeah, he let it down though.
Yeah, he did. He did. It was cool. Even though I sounded like caterpillars, apparently, I still don't know what that means, but whatever.
The StreamYard issue.
Yeah. Damn StreamYard.
Hey man, you still knocked it out of the park, so
appreciate it. Thank you.
I will say too, with this series, it would be interesting to see how they would, because you've got to imagine as hot a commodity as Leto is for WB right now, they would want to tie the Joker into
you would think
something like this. It would be interesting to see how those three
you would think a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's a good point too.
Seems
so oh man, even like the Deathstroke solo movie that he talked about being like super like $40 million budget or whatever with Gareth Evans directing. It's like, if you've seen The Raid, it's like, man, that would have been so amazing.
Jesus, right?
But I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
WB, they're a mystery.
Every once in a while, I go and look at that old that post that he threw up on Twitter where it's the costume test, and it has like the amount of retweets that post had. It's just
and the fact that he said that Ben Affleck posted that and turned his phone off and went on, and I'm like, that is Batman.
I've often wondered if Ben did that as a flex. Because I imagine they were in the middle of like a lot of turmoil at that point, you know?
Yep. I would not be surprised. Yeah, because he was just like, you know what? Yeah. And who knows what was going on. And he just said, F it, and said, you know what? I'm going to post this and get on a plane and see what happens. And it blew up the internet. That's why when it comes to him possibly coming back to do his series, I go like, you know what? That just going back to that and hearing Joe talk about how he did it like that, how excited he was to have Deathstroke as his villain. And the fact that we know that Ben Affleck's been a big, huge Batman fan, I almost go, I mean, when people want hope, I always go, well, just look at all that. The fact that he came back for Zack, obviously we're going to get to that point where he did come back. And, you know, and you just look at all that and you go, man, if he wants to find time, I think he would find time to complete his vision at least, you know, so don't lose hope.
Yeah.
Seriously. And like it's not like the whole Deathstroke thing too. It's not like it's a $250 million project. That's
40 million, 40 to 50. Come on.
You know you're going to turn a profit. Like it's not even a question.
Jesus.
So
the hell, yeah.
I can just imagine all the amazing scripts that WB must be getting for all these other movies. Even though we got this right here, like it's pretty easy. Just do this.
Yeah, right.
Birds of Prey 2.
Oh no!
Right.
Well, I mean, it would actually be Birds of Prey this time. You know, it's like that's the problem. It's like they named it Birds of Prey. It should not have been named Birds of Prey because it was barely Birds of Prey until like the very end. You know, that's just the issue that they had. You okay there, Matt?
Nothing. I was just going to leave during Birds of Prey talk.
That's why you clicked out. You're like, oh, shit. Yeah. He's like, I can't drop any more F-bombs, so he clicked out. Where's that Nick Cage? Where's that Nick Cage, like Netflix?
It actually would have been great had you like dropped your camera and then been talking, son of a...
Hey, that camera's mounted right there. It cannot leave there. All right. It took me hours. No, I'm just kidding. It's a webcam. It's a shitty webcam.
Oh man, good stuff. Yeah.
All right. So now we kind of jump into the meat of this bad boy.
Oof.
The actual nightmare sequence, and my God.
Oh my God, I know. That's all you can really say about it.
Right.
Because
want to see something that's never been done in comic book movies ever anything like this.
Yeah.
And I need more of it.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, how do you not want to get more of this? Where you have a post-apocalypse, Darkseid has already invaded. It's just like post that. You have an evil Superman that's on the loose, and you got all these, these remaining DC characters that are surviving, and they're so random too. You got Batman, Cyborg, Flash, Mira, and then Batman has to team up with Deathstroke and the Joker. Yeah. I mean, that's just how is that already not been put? How is Scott Snyder not put that in a book?
Especially considering the scene right before this where he's like, I'm gonna go kill Batman.
Yeah.
Jump right ahead. They're working together?
Obviously. Yeah. Matt's poked fun at this regarding the fact that people, even people who were naysayers of Zack before, are now all into the nightmare scene. And some of the stuff Matt has said is like, well, don't you understand how dark that's probably going to be? But people are bought in, like across the board. People are bought in. Like, I want to see more of that. And Jared Leto's Joker, people definitely want to see more of that. Isn't it still like up there as one of the most searched terms or Joker terms or something on Google? It's crazy. Obviously people want to see it. They want to see more. They feel that he hasn't been able to really shine on what he could do with the character, and I don't know.
I mean, that's why like the Ayer cut is almost like a no-brainer, because it's like, hey, you guys apparently like Jared Leto now, because
almost a no-brainer.
Yeah, almost.
Yes.
I forgot who we're talking to.
Almost. Good Lord. But like, I mean, when Suicide Squad came out, it was pretty divisive of his portrayal of Joker. I mean, just like with everything else that was, back in 2016, geez. And now that people were finding out that he was being a part of it, everybody got excited. And then when you saw the look of him and the fact that it's been, that he evolved from the look that he had, and it's like, this is years later. It's post-apocalyptic. This is a road-weary Joker, is what Zack said, and it shows. And then just to have finally, we have Batfleck and Leto Joker going back and forth. I mean,
and they're not even together, and the chemistry is ridiculous.
I know. To find out they didn't shoot together, it's like, wow. Yeah.
Great point. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's almost up there with that interrogation scene with Bale and Ledger. I said Leather. And Leather. Leather. Heath Ledger. Yeah, Leather. No, but I mean, it's almost up there because just the exchange. They're actively trying to push each other's buttons. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you feel like the version we got of that scene was better than the one that was released with We Live in a Society? What are your guys?
So I will say yes. And a lot of the reason is because I love this Junkee track. All of you Undisturbed Cities. And there's a moment, like in that moment where he's kind of like, looks like he's like spazzing out, kind of.
God,
like
I love that.
The music with that, like what's going on in his, it's just, and for like such a psychotic character like the Joker, I was like, this is just freaking perfect.
So, I love how it drops in and out of focus and stuff too.
That's where that dream lens really came into play. Right before he says to do a man's job, to do a man's job, and just the way that it focused perfectly right before he says the line, it was like, oh man, good job. Who's the cinematographer on this? He's such a good guy.
I did really like the I did really like the we live in a society dialogue. So the stuff that we ultimately got was still good, and I still enjoyed it. But I don't know, I felt that society dialogue was just delivered so well and so hyped me up for it. I was a little disappointed to not see that, and maybe it's not one versus the other. It's just the fact that the society stuff was taken out.
Shane's I need both of them.
Exactly. All of it. Somehow. Give me all of it.
Joker super extended scene. he just goes like this, and then started. We live in a society. It cuts to that.
And then when I watch it with people who haven't seen it, and then when we finally get that F-bomb from Batman, which I knew when we found out about that back in December, I think, or early January, or whatever it was, I was like, it's got to be towards Joker. There's no way that he's gonna waste an F-bomb on anything else but to say it to Joker. And it's like funny too, because in that scene he almost says it. He almost says it before, and Joker cuts him off because he's like, I swear to God, and he almost says it, and then he cuts him off, and it's just going. I'm like, oh, come on, just say it. And then when he does, it's like, oh, yes.
Well, what the Bruce, kill me.
Yeah. Oh man, everything. Oh, Leto was just perfect in that.
Yeah.
The fact that
I'm taking notes yesterday, and like I like to write down because I love Terrio, so I'm writing down a lot of quotes as I go through it, and I start like this conversation between them, and like very quickly I realize I'm just writing the entire. Like I don't need to write this down. I'm just writing the whole conversation.
This beautiful freaking dialogue. I mean, all the way down to who's going to give you a reach around, which was an ad lib, which was cool, and then I love the fact that behind that. Leto turned to Snyder and said, "That's not going to make the movie." And he goes, "You want to bet?" Yeah. And Snyder said, "You put it right there in the movie." And I love that. I love the fact that worked out because it's so random. It almost seems like Leto just hit his brain. Like, I'm your best friend. Besides, and then he just hit him. Who's going to give you a reach around?
Don't kill me, Bruce. I'm your best friend.
And you're imagining the Joker giving a reach around to Batman. It's just weird.
Wait a minute.
Where are you, Axel Braun? Anyway, where's that scene?
And of course, a truce, Bruce. That's a great one too. Yeah, but go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was actually going to say, I don't know why, but I do like the "We Live in a Society" one better. I get the poking each other, the bear and everything. I get that they're kind of like messing with each other. I do like that dynamic, and I guess if you actually want to put it, that's probably the one and only time we will see these together. That makes more sense to have them like that. But I just like, because of the atmosphere they're in at the moment. They're surrounded by it's the nightmare timeline. I like the "We live in a society" line because it fits the timeline that they're in, and we live in a society where honor is anyway. So it's a memory, it's a distant memory, and you could just look at the landscape, and you're like, well, yeah, like this is
Captain Obvious,
and so it's like it fits that kind of landscape really well for me and everything. I get though why people like the other one because it is basically the first time and possibly the only time that these guys are going to be on screen together, and they're poking each other with these comments, like trying to piss each other off. And he even does the little, you almost got me.
It is good because it actually goes longer than you think it probably should. Because you're like, what's happening? And then it's zeroed in, and then all of a sudden his hand just starts shaking, trembling, and then he just does that, and he goes,
dang well that when Zach was filming that, he's like, I want to make this just a little uncomfortable for the audience too.
And it is,
yeah.
I love Leto's face too, like when he's kind of shocked at what Batman's saying, and he's kind of like, "You dick." Also, his facial expression is perfect.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm the one that's supposed to be saying this crap. How dare you?"
Yeah, right. And I also do like the one, like, who do you think screamed louder, the boy or the girl?
I like that. I like that line. I was like, oh, that's a good one. If somehow they could incorporate that with, some of the, I'm like, because that was a really good line. Who screamed louder? I was like, oh, damn. And then, but
you gotta imagine there's some crazy B-roll out there of stuff he shot with.
Yeah, for sure.
I know some of the outtakes of what Leto might have said. But I mean, it just when he just says that Harley Quinn was bleeding, and then swore to me like, if I'll kill you, and I'll kill you. I was like, oh God. I always anytime I watch it, I always look at everybody's reaction like, come on, react.
Did you hear it?
I'm always so excited to anytime that I'm watching with somebody who hasn't seen it. I'm like, oh, he said the F-bomb. And sometimes I've gotten a reaction. They're like, oh, wow. I'm like, that's right. Right. It's nightmare.
Talking about the kind of using the focus as a weapon in this scene too. Like when he delivers the I'm happy to discuss with you in any way you like why you sent a boy wonder, and then it like kind of like the camera kind of like rocks back a little bit, like he's out of focus. And then like to do a man's job, like when like it's focused again on Leto. and like the sound mixing. It's
And then just the end of that part where just the Joker just gives like the weirdest awkward smile, just like But you know what's kind of funny about that? Which I kind of like didn't think about the first few times I watched it, because when Bruce gives a little smirk, it's always one side, and now Joker like giving the one side smile.
Mangled teeth.
I want to ask Zach. I'm like, did you what was that about when it came to that smile? Because it's almost like a mocking of how Bruce does his little smirk, but he's like, I love that.
I just like it shows even if you don't know the results, though, it kind of, I don't know if it makes sense for the casual fan, because I think it's obviously, we know it's implying because he knocked all his teeth out after, so he's showing his mouth now without all the grill. He's lost the grill and from Suicide Squad, and so this is the look of his mouth now after what Batman did to him. So I mean, we know that, but I just wonder if people were like, what the hell is wrong with his mouth? Like, I know the nightmare timeline sucks, but you can't find a dentist. Like,
yeah, I know.
Nope. That whole, it's right up. So for me, if I'm ranking my Snyder Cut moments, it's the Flash sequence, and then this interaction here is right.
I'm right there with you, man.
Because it's just like, I just feel when I watch this, I just like, I feel like everything else like in the whole world is just like drowned out. Like
no kidding.
You almost want to get a cut to one of the other characters, like, Jesus, these two really fucking hate each other, man. What is it? You're like, this is awkward. This is awkward. I mean, anybody else, this is awkward. Superman might be showing up any minute now, and these two won't shut up.
Right. Yeah, Deathstroke to Cyborg. It's like, these guys really hate each other, huh?
Yeah. I thought I
think it was a good idea to bring him.
But did you guys think that Ben back in the suit looked good? I know some people were kind of like, I think when he turns to the side, some people were saying like maybe the mask felt like it wasn't full on.
I mean, he's just a little smaller, I guess.
Yeah, but like when he's like dead on, looking at him, when he's dead on, I'm like, oh God, he just looks so good in that freaking cowl, man. It's just, man. Even though he's probably like 50 pounds, not 50, 15 pounds, hot, lighter, maybe I would say 10 to 15 pounds. I would say he's probably, so.
It's not as like jarring as it is in the lake house scene. Like he looks a lot different in the lake house.
Agreed.
Which was an unnecessary reshoot because WB sucks. Certain things.
Yes. But before we jump into the Martian Manhunter, we got a couple of other little things here. We do get the Deathstroke line. Still think it was a good idea bringing him along, and then Batman. What do you think? Like,
so good. I know you hear Joker laughing, and I love the evolution of the Joker laugh. Where it's just, I mean, like it's kind of like what you remember from Suicide Squad, but it's just a little more like just. Is he done?
It's almost like he's just like tired of doing it.
Yes,
like, he's just
say the line, Bart.
I do love that Mira has that little like canister of what I assume is water, so that she can actually use her powers, which is just a cool little
added thing where she just drops it right there.
What do you guys think of like how they integrated Barry as far as
I was gonna say that part. I wish there was dialogue. It just seemed like when they filmed Ezra, it was like, okay, get in front of the green screen and then look like this, and Zach was through too. All right, I think we got it. But I think that they placed his face on someone else's body.
Right.
I don't know if you guys thought that too.
Yeah, I mean his face look. I mean, even his face to me almost looks CG. But
I think they had to add facial hair. That's what
they added facial. They added a mustache.
Reverse mustache game.
See, I think how better that would have been.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what they did.
I will say I totally get that side. I also think that because we talk about how much like all of these characters are worn down at this point, than the nightmare sequence. I thought, like, my interpretation of him, like the fact that he was being quiet, was more of like in the movie itself, he's just very like, he loves talking, he's always making jokes and stuff, and like he's gotten to the point where he's just like so worn down where he does like he's just not himself anymore. That was kind of
it's a good headcanon reason.
Yeah,
for sure. I actually dig that. Yeah, I never really thought about it like that. So
yeah. So
I also love that Cyborg has a duster.
That's
great. Yeah.
That's
great. Hey man, Tin Man.
I love
oil.
When he does detect Superman, he says he's found us, and I love how he throws the cape off. It's just so like dramatic.
Right? Let's do this. He really loves just tearing off his clothes. Like he's Hulk Hogan or something.
Or in the Cialis commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Or that Hulk Hogan in the Cialis commercial.
Oh God, brother.
You're
Hulkamaniac, huh?
Yeah. So we get these little character shots of everybody kind of probably realizing they're about to die.
If he's anything like Omni-Man, good luck.
Yeah. Good Lord. Right. Have you guys all watched Invincible?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Think, cool. Bruce. Think.
Yeah. I know Brandon's still working through it, but I
actually just watched one before we jumped on tonight. Nice. So I'm still.
Well, I mean, as long as you saw the ending of the first episode, I mean, that's where it was like, oh, that's where this series is going.
Yeah. And it just gets crazier and crazier.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I said it too. I was like, when you watch like the first episode, you kind of go, okay, this is kind of run by the numbers. This is like what a movie like this would be like, or like a story like this would be like. And I was almost going, why are people raving about this? This is pretty generic. And then when it got to that scene, I went,
okay. Yeah.
That's where this okay.
They do a good job at kind of like suckering you in a little bit, because I thought the same exact thing. Like, okay, people are hyping this up and it feels like just another animated superhero movie. And then you get to the end like, okay.
And they kill off all the like generic character, like replacement character, DC characters and everything. And
I mean, but can you imagine like, and you better believe that Snyder probably had ideas of like, can you imagine a Superman being like that? You actually see a Superman just fucking like ripping someone's head off or ripping them in half or just doing something
like
crazy.
BVS, where
there'd be so many people that would be like that. The not most Superman people would go crazy. They would just be going. They would be nonstop, just like, oh my God.
You watch. We'll end up getting Justice League 2, and everybody will turn again, and then we won't get the final
exactly.
one.
It'll be repeating history. People were complaining about Superman like lasering Steppenwolf.
Yeah,
he would never do that. So sadistic. What? He's angry. He wants to destroy the world. What do you?
To be fair, they made him so adorable. Those eyes, man.
That's true.
He's smiling while he's
like
doing
the Puss in Boots.
Right. I mean, that's pretty much it.
I just want to come home.
And I love that he's smiling while doing that. And it's like, hey, you guys wanted him to smile. Now he's doing that statistically.
Good point.
There you go. That's what you wanted.
I love the one meme that Shane posted about Steppenwolf, where it's like, you think you're in debt, but just imagine being 50,000 worlds and conquering in debt. And it shows like that little puppy dog face, like,
it always could be worse. Yes,
true.
I was actually kind of wondering. I don't know what other people's opinions on this is, but I've seen some ideas about this. But this, I assume what's going to happen, like if that timeline continued or that concept, people keep thinking that that's where everybody's going to die, and like this is kind of like a multiverse in itself. Is that we see Bruce die in one version, and then we see them die possibly in another because events are changing or somewhat altering throughout the movie. And I don't know if that's true or not because of how much things have changed or would have changed for Snyder and stuff. So I've always been curious, like if that seems to have any validity to it or not. Like if they're all pretty much done right there. Like he found them. Like as soon as he finds them, they're all screwed. They're Omni-Manned. They're all going to get Omni-Manned.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess. It does. Well, the line with Joker about, how many timelines do you not die because you don't have the cojones or whatever.
I was kind of wondering too. Is it the same time? Because the last nightmare that that Bruce had, he also got killed by Superman, to the chest, and then this one, it's like, there's no way you're surviving this, especially you, no matter what you do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you have any kryptonite on hand. I don't think he does, but yeah. So you kind of wonder, like, when it comes to these nightmares, are they the same? Are they different? I don't know. But it's like both of them end to the fact that Superman's here. Oh, crap.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same, version that Cyborg sees through the mother box. I mean, he sees Superman holding the bat cowl, which is, assuming that's right after the BVS nightmare sequence. Yeah, I don't know. I know that a lot of people have that theory that it's not Supes that lands, it's Martian Manhunter in disguise, but I don't know.
It's not a bad.
He looks pretty angry to me, but
yeah.
I mean, it looks like he's about to look at the terrorist that's holding his.
It's just
you don't say.
I mean, they had to, they had to utilize what they had. I mean, that's the thing.
Exactly.
I mean, the fact of the matter is like, when it comes to that, and of course, when it comes to the Cyborg nightmare, we know that that's from Man of Steel. But I mean, the fact that they did a pretty good job of doing all that. I mean, I spotted that too. Like, oh my God, that is. I didn't spot it the first time. The second time, I'm like, oh, that's when he lands and when we see him in BVS. Totally.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, it's like, you kind of get it. He couldn't do his pickup shots that he wanted to do, but it's still cool looking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hey, he did an amazing job with what he.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Repurposing shots.
And let's be honest, like, if you're not in the weeds like we are, you don't pick up on that stuff. You don't realize that it's.
I know, until I pointed out to like people and say, you know what happened, and they're like, "Why'd you ruin it for me?" Well, because for me, it's got to be room for you too. Okay, right? Yeah.
All right. So, any other thoughts on this nightmare stuff before we jump to the lake house?
Okay, where do you think they were heading to that they would not suspect him to show up?
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lois's apartment.
I was gonna say that. I mean, is that where they're going? Like we wouldn't expect us to be at Lois's apartment. And then Batman goes, by the way, a couple of times, me and her.
I had this whole thing mapped out at one time. Like, when she goes to the pillow and she touches it.
No.
I really wanted to put a batarang right in the pillow. And like right where she's like touching it, like the batarang right there and everything. I think I showed it, and I don't know if I really ever posted it or anything, but I had the whole thing where she opens the drawer and there's a batarang, there's a Batman condom.
Oh, you should have. That would have been
great. I have it still. I still have it, but I think I may have fooled around with it and stuff, and it was kind of goofy, and I just kind of removed it and stuff. And it had the Batman condom. It said, haha, joke's on you. And then
joke's on you, Clark. Yeah.
And then I even had like some background noise of like when she's touching the pillow, it's Ben Affleck saying that Russian line from BBS, payments in full. I don't know. Maybe I'll post it on Twitter or something. I don't know. But I had the whole little joke and stuff.
Now that he's got this little test audience, he's back into it.
You're right. I was like, but it kept getting copyrighted and everything, so I just like, it's just gonna get it pulled down or something. So I was like, it's just too much, and
that's all it deserved.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I changed Clark's face on the picture to Bruce's.
Yeah,
and so it's just like him smiling. Yeah. It's him smiling with Lois, and she's just looking at it. Forgot about that.
Do it, please.
Oh, I have it. I just have to put it on Twitter.
Post
it. It is a good question, though. I don't know where they're going, but I one of the things that I would be so interested to see is Cosmic Treadmill, anything.
Oh my God! Right?
In live action.
Well, just even like the explanation of how the time travel. I mean, I know Zach has explained it, but to see the scene where they actually talk about it and how Bruce, talks to Victor, he goes, which one would you choose? And then all of a sudden he goes, well, choose the other, because obviously that didn't work out. We're still here, and just stuff like that. And the way that there was, it's supposed to be like when the Earth is in a certain amount where it's like in the orbit and everything. I mean, even though it's, they probably were just would this how time travel works? Who knows? But it actually, when you think about it, you go, kind of makes sense. Did you
hey, buddy.
Did you pull your plug?
I was trying to click on something and I just clicked that right out of the
thing. But go ahead, Dave. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's just the explanation of the time travel and all that back and forth. Yeah, that'd be awesome to see. That
have any of y'all seen Apocalypse War, the animated?
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's great.
Oh man,
exactly.
After watching that thing, I'm like, I can not imagine what Zack could do with.
Exactly. I mean, that's why, like, when everybody's raving about it, you know, us fans are like, yeah, we have a director that wanted to do something not as bad as, like, not as like gory as that, but you know, close, maybe something where it was like, hey, let's not make it PG-13. Let's go full R-rated, please.
Yeah.
Is that the one where they keep Superman locked up with no sunlight and he's like emaciated?
No, that's Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay. No, he has a kryptonite tattoo of an S.
Yes.
In this one.
So it kind of keeps him at bay. Yeah.
And then he goes Sailor Moon at the end.
Yeah, you should check that one out. There's really a lot of actually Zack Snyders Justice League kind of material.
Yeah.
Similar material.
Yep. That was the first thing Matt and I have talked about that. Like when you're watching it, you're like, this is very like eerily.
That's eerie.
Yeah.
I think we titled that actually. There's some Snyder Cut in my Justice League animated movie or something like that. We titled it something like that.
It's a great one. But anyways, all right. So let's jump into the lake house scene. Bruce wakes up and it's
looking 10
modern day Ben Affleck. Yeah.
Yeah.
He really does.
I don't know.
What is he doing? How is he doing it?
It's Ana de Armas. That's who he's doing. That's who he was doing. Yeah. That's what it was. Now it's Jennifer Lopez. Apparently, he's just trying to keep young.
Ana de Armas and Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
That's right. Exactly. That's
the other thing in the drawer.
All I have to do.
There you go.
In my edit, there's like Dunkin's gift card in the drawer.
Nice.
I'll show you when we end this. I'll show you guys.
Okay,
I have it pulled up here. That's what I was trying to pull up, and then I clicked out of the thing.
That's awesome.
That's right. I forgot about the Dunkin' Donuts.
Every time he gets a new girlfriend, Brandon texts me, or I'll text Brandon. He'll be like, So what's your policy on him returning as Batman? That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's all I care about.
Let's hope, right?
Like with the J-Lo thing, I was like, yeah, she's probably toxic, but does she want him to be Batman? Because that's what I want.
He is probably power hungry, so Batman as a boyfriend could be a big deal, you know.
And I just love the fact that, you know, him and Jimmy Kimmel did a little thing, and and it's just the fact that on Jimmy Kimmel he said, "I'm not Batman," and then we do this thing, and Jimmy Kimmel's all, "Well, you're Batman," and it's like, give us some hope here, Ben. Come on,
that's the thing, man. That's
how are you guys?
That's what we talked about with him coming back to do this. These pickup shots for Nightmare stuff, like, and him signing on for Flash. It's like he loves Snyder's take so much. I'm hoping that, and because we all have our reservations about Flash as far as what their intentions to do, that whole, they're trying to course correct or whatever they're going to do with it. But just the fact that Ben's a part of it's like, man, I would hope that Ben wouldn't come back just to kill his character off and just have some sort of like, I just don't feel like why would he even want to put himself through that?
If he's going to kill his character, he's going to do it on his own terms. Like maybe if even when it comes to his script, obviously we know when he was supposed to die. He's supposed to die in Justice League 2 or whatever, Sacrifice. Mm-hmm. But maybe if he knows that maybe that if that's not going to happen, which, we do hope that would happen, but if something had to be arranged where maybe he even got killed in his own script, I don't know. But I don't think he would join Flash just to, you're gonna kill me off, cool, let's do it like that. Unless it was something where he sacrifices himself for his dad or something like that, Thomas Wayne Batman, or some crazy thing where there was like a surprise or whatever the hell. I can't really see
that. It kills me because, and this could take us on a tangent here, but with these all these movies that are coming out that are in any way tied to Zack's world, I have such a hard time getting excited for them, and I hate that because I love DC movies, but there's just this like bitterness in the back of my head.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
We all feel it. We all feel it.
I can't believe that I'm supporting this company that is doing this to, or has done this to Zack and all the fans. Like, I mean, there's so many fans out there that want this, you know. It's I don't know, it's crazy to me.
The thing drives me nuts between WB, but then there's also some other ones where it's like, I mean, I don't know. I saw a couple. We did one video like, have you lost faith in DC? And like, we had a couple comments. I mean, it wasn't overwhelming, but there was like some like real DC fans would never lose faith in like DC movies. And I'm just like, you know what?
Where have you been? Where have you been?
And I'm just like, okay, so you want to have your like Blue Beetle movie and your Peacemaker series and whatever, all that, compared to the Justice League versus Darkseid in a nightmare timeline. You're telling me that's the giver choice that I got to be a DC fan or not? Yeah. Anyway, it's just, I was just like, that shit just blew me away. That's like, oh, you guys are just Snyder fans. I'm like, no, I like Snyder's movies, but my biggest hang up, honestly, is like, it's not that it's just like, it's a SnyderVerse thing, but it's the fact that we're losing these characters. We're losing this concept. That's the thing that I think every DC fan should be mad about, whether you like Snyder movies or not. It's the concept. You're losing Henry Cavill's Superman. You're losing Ben Affleck's Batman. Yeah,
it's so different from anything that's out there in this genre.
Like, if the Flash movie, I brought this up last stream. What happens if the Flash movie sucks and tanks? What are they going to do then? They're all banking on this movie to completely rewrite this crap. And they're just, and what happens if it screws up? If it fails and nobody likes it? Like, oh, they don't like what they did. Like, what are they gonna do then? They're gonna have to.
Oh, they got a plan.
Make another one.
Plan. Don't worry about it.
Wonder Woman 84,
Flash 2, Electric Boogaloo. I like.
Yep, pretty much.
Like, it's just.
We know you hated it. Here's more.
That's a good pitch, Shane. I was almost in the WB offices when you. That should be in the trailer. You hated it.
You hated it. Here's more.
Brought to you by. Anyway, it's just like, I'm like, okay, so I want the Justice League and the New Gods and all these other characters being introduced. Like, if you look at those whiteboards, there's God of War, Wonder Woman concept in there. Yeah. She fights Superman, kills Superman. Sorry, spoiler for this as God of War, Wonder Woman. But I should get hyped for Blue Beetle.
Yeah, seriously though, like you want to see a comic book movie? Justice League 2 and 3 are going to be comic book movies, okay? Like,
no doubt, man. Jeez.
Unlike anything you'd seen too. That, and with the Flash too, it's like I just know I'm scared about the Ben Affleck role, because unless they use his character and he could die or sacrifice himself, unless he comes back in some form in that movie, we know the real reason that he died in that movie. It wasn't a plot device. It was because WB is trying to reboot. Like, you can't convince me that this was like an original story thing, like some baseline level of this story where Ben Affleck dies. Like, you just can't. There's no way you can convince me of that.
Let's just hope it's not like In Our Faces, where it's like he dies and then all of a sudden, like Barry looks over at a TV and Twilight's playing and it's Robert Pattinson. Like, hey, that's just what's next.
It could work.
Yeah. Or no, we don't have to use even Twilight. We'll use something better, like The Lighthouse or something.
This guy can't even speak English. No.
Yeah. Let's use the masturbation scene in Lighthouse.
No.
All right. So we've got our Lennox Martian Manhunter sequence here.
And by the way, do we all notice that Ben Affleck is CGI full on right there when he's walking out? Anybody else notice that?
I did not notice that.
Watch it again. He moves very much like a CGI person. I think, I don't know why exactly he's CGI, but I think it's just because the whole shot is, I don't know, CGI. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Well, the whole house is
Yeah,
almost. Yeah, it's.
I think the whole sequence right here is CGI, including Ben.
I think it was actually obviously very shot last minute because of what happened with the arguments with and so it didn't get a lot of work, and they probably he probably shot in his driveway again, so he's really only got Ben like sitting up and then standing there.
So if you notice, he's very much and so it's just the whole shot CGI. But then of course, when you see Ben full on, I mean, didn't Zack say he had to make him look older? I don't know if he was like just joking about that or something, just because of how.
I did see that. But I was I have no idea if he was joking or not.
I know it's hard to tell with Zack sometimes. No, but I mean, Ben looks good, but it's just kind of funny, like his reaction to it. It's very much, I mean, but in the vein of how Bruce Wayne has been in this movie, it's like, especially when I've watched it with other people who have watched BVS and they go like, wow, he's just something. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're leading to. I mean, this is what was part of it. He's more optimistic. He's got more faith. And just like his reaction to, it's funny. When I first watched it, I was like, I almost kind of didn't like how he was responding, but then I grew to be like, you know what? Yeah. Well, in the vein of the whole movie, I'm like, this is a little more not so cynical.
I guess he did just see Darkseid through a boom too.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like how unfazed he was. Like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
This guy's not as big as Darkseid. It's going to be fine.
We need all the help we can get. Who are you again?
Matt and I have talked about this, that you can clearly tell that they're like, not it's filmed separately.
Oh, of
course. It could have been Green Lantern instead of Martian Manhunter, or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I'm kind of curious if Snyder will ever reveal the actual footage, because they shot the Green Lantern, like with the principal photography, they shot that scene. But it was supposed to be Green Lantern, and there was like Ben had like a green light that was illuminating on him, So of course that's why they had to reshoot the scene, because they had to repurpose it. So it was like, so I'm kind of curious. And I mean, I even talking to Wayne T. Carr, he even said that when you watch that scene with Harry Lennox, he said my dialogue was similar. He didn't know exactly what the dialogue was, but he did say the dialogue was pretty similar. So
okay, interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was a great interview, by the way.
Thank you.
Bogstrom,
it was funny talking to him, because he was going, I was like, how long can we actually talk about a very tiny little scene
right.
In a movie, and I think that's like was always that's why I was like, hey Ray, you want to come in, let's talk about it. Scott, come in, talk about Shakespeare in theater, because I don't care about Shakespeare. Come on, man, and that's why I was like, some support right
there. I love Shakespeare, to be or to not to be, right?
To be, I saw that scene in Last Action Hero. Come on.
Not to be.
Not to be. Oh, I love that. But it was cool talking to him and just getting his 2 cents on it. But and then seeing this,
seems like a really cool dude.
Yeah, very down to earth, and I know we're gonna eventually probably see the actual full on finished still shot of what he actually would have looked like in the suit.
Make me more angry.
I know. I know. When people were going like, "Oh, is there a whole scene?" I'm going, "Well, I mean, it costs a lot to do all that for a whole scene." And then I'm glad that Zach actually clarified it. Well, I got a pretty awesome still, or a wild still. I'm like, there you go. That sounds about right.
To be a fly on the wall when Zach like comes in with like all this new stuff shot, and they're like,
"What?"
Yeah.
Or just how he shoots some of this stuff. I mean, the fact that he shot Harry Lennox the same way as he shot Carr, and it's just crazy. But of course, with Harry Lennox, he had the full on, I mean, they both had to have the pajamas, but then Lennox had to have like the dots on his face and the gear and everything. But it's just crazy. And then, like I said, when it comes to this scene, it's a cool scene because, I mean, first off, you see more of Martian Manhunter in I like the design. I really dig it. I think it's, it's very much, when you look at other designs, I mean, they kind of just, I like the way the X, the lighting, like the lights kind of move with it or whatever the heck.
Yeah.
I like how that looks, and, just in general. And then what he has to say too, that your parents would have been proud, and, all that stuff, which kind of shows you what kind of character he was supposed to be. I mean, when you see him with Lois, and even like when you even go back throughout, because a lot of people are always griping, "Oh, where was he in PVS and Man of Steel?" It's like, well, if you actually, I mean, it all kind of works if you really think about it. Like,
yeah,
when in Man of Steel, he was being the character, being the persona that he took up when he was, and when you see that shot through the glass, and when Superman just walks up to it, he stands his ground. I mean, even if they weren't intending it, it still works because it's like, he's like, I'm not afraid of this Kryptonian, but I don't trust him. I'm a Martian. I know about these Kryptonians. They could be evil pieces of, he senses that. And then even with BVS, he was like, no, I got to let these heroes fight this battle on their own because I know there's bigger battles out there. So if they can take on this, I mean, maybe if it gets too crazy and they can't take them down, I'll jump in. But essentially, it all worked out. Yeah. But then he goes, well, now Darkseid's coming. Hey, Bruce.
You're right.
Remember me? I was like that. I don't know if you remember me. Hey, Bruce. Yeah. I'll be with you. I'll join your little club.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, they probably weren't thinking about this from the beginning, but retroactively, it works. It's just like, like with, George Lucas didn't think that Leia and Luke were going to be brothers, or didn't think that Darth was going to be their father. It's like they figured it out as they went, but it works.
Clearly.
Oh man.
And you get the kind of what you guys mentioned earlier that your mother and father would be proud. I hope so moment. It was a good, if we don't get any more of this Batman, it's a good, like, peaceful closing for his character. But yeah, that wraps her up.
Get a little out of Martian.
You could see in the distance that Wayne Manor is slowly being worked on. To be the Hall of Justice. Yeah.
Is this a Christopher Reeve nod? Who knows?
Who knows?
Wink and nod. Maybe.
Yeah.
And that
or Autumn.
That always gets you. That always gets you right there, man. Jeez.
Right in the feels.
Oh man.
Chills every time.
I've had to explain that to so many people, and I'm like, oh man, where to start? That's kind of people are like, Autumn. I'm like, well,
it's really this whole story in a nutshell. Like, if you like had the opportunity to talk to every person and explain like what really happened with this movie, and like from there to now, like what has transpired, like people would be nuts. Like everybody would be nuts about watching this movie, but it's just like, how do you do that?
That's why I was hoping that at the beginning when they released this, that they were going to have some like mini, like maybe just like a 5-minute thing of like thanking the fan, like going like a little bit into how we got here, why we got here, that kind of thing, just to like educate people as to why this is such a big deal. But they're obviously not going to put a lot of, I mean, they probably, take the approach where they're not going to like implicate themselves, obviously, but it's just one of those things.
All right, gents, we are closing in on 2 hours here, so it's a good time to wrap up.
Amateurs,
right. That's what we talked about at the beginning of this series. The reason we broke it up into parts is because when the first trailer came out, we spent like an hour and 45 or 2 hours reviewing the trailer. So we were like, "There's no way we can review this whole movie in one episode."
Right? Yeah, no kidding. Exhibit A.
Right. Originally, when we like I talked about this with Matt when he jumped on. We were like, when we first started laying out, we were going to do this, week by week. By the time we got here, we were like, surely we're going to have news by Restore the Snyderverse. Like something's going to be happening. This was before like that Monday morning article dropped, and so we're like, we can talk about the future by the time we get here. And now it's like, okay, what is that? What do we even say now?
That? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I guess we could briefly touch upon it, like as far as feel anybody's like initial like feelings at this point. As far as I know, that temperatures are high, obviously, as far as
what I suggest for everybody is just listen to Zach. That's all. Just listen to Zach because he keeps on talking. Even today, I covered it on my show today, where it's just the different interviews that came out today. I mean, first off, I love the fact that he's still making Warner Brothers look like absolute morons, but saying they're very much
anti-Snyder.
Oh man, it was so great. I love that. But then when people were asking him like, "Hey, should we move on and just go full on? Hey, Army of the Dead and blah, blah," and he just went, "You could do both." Just do both.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've said it many times, like Zach's not going to wait around. He's not going to wait around. But at the same time, I think I always go back to when they had the set visit for Army of the Dead, specifically because, Colbert was there. And I remember him just saying that, that basically like at that time, just don't give up on that. I'm not going to give up on that. Just keep on if you want to keep fighting for that. I mean, but there's also this here too. I'm doing this. Yes, I'm going to be, but at the same time, it's like, and I always tell people, like, if it does continue and it's not going to be fully him, but it'll be his blueprint and he'll still have a little hands-on, accept that, please. Like, just,
and the other thing too is watch these 3 movies. And you tell me that he doesn't love these characters more than any other superhero movie director ever.
Yeah. And then what I was actually getting at, because that actually popped out of my mind, what he said back in that set visit was the fact that he always felt that Justice League was like a hole in his filmography, like he didn't, he wasn't able. Yeah. There you go. Void. He wasn't able to complete that. And you got to believe that maybe he kind of feels like that when it comes to the whole arc that he had. Mm-hmm. Like, wow, this didn't come to be. So it'd be kind of cool if it did come to be, because I love these characters and I wanted to see all this. So that's where I kind of go, that's where you don't lose hope, because if something does happen and Warner Brothers gets their heads out of their asses and whatever the hell and goes, all right, let's do this.
They decide they want to make money.
Yeah, they want to make, that Brad Paisley really wants to be more,
Just the fact that he's holding on to that last storyboard.
Yeah. See,
that's a little bit of it's like he's not like, playing
he's like,
on his cards.
Just in case, I'm not going to show you guys this one, because that would be what we would actually do. So
I will say, man, though, it is great to see him being embraced by Netflix and them supporting him and how happy he is in interviews. It doesn't seem like he's having to go to war every day, every interview. Like towards the end of those interviews for JL, it just seemed like he was like a little defeated with just having to just like battle them consistently again.
Yeah.
Right.
And, it just, it's good to see.
For
see him in a good place.
He deserves it. Yeah. No doubt.
So,
well, all right, fellas. Let's go around again and plug anything you want to plug. We'll start with the movie marks.
All right, we are the movie marks.
Who are not named Mark.
Yeah. No.
That would make too much sense.
Exactly.
Swerve. Where's the entry?
Swerve.
Exactly. Neither one of us. Not 2 marks. Yeah. So we are obviously on YouTube. That's our big spot. And then we're just on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, sort of. Or somewhat on Facebook, I guess. That's just a part of the spiel. It just comes out.
Yeah,
I think we're on Facebook.
I get it.
Comic movie marks.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Matt, you want to add to it?
Well, I think Shane did a bang-up job.
That sounds about right.
Release the Lois Lane drawer.
Right
after this, I'll show it to you guys. I got it.
Okay. Keep it private. No, I'm Dave. Of course, you can find me at the Film Junkee with 2 E's at the end, and then of course you can find my Twitter right there. Also has 2 E's, and I live stream a lot because
you do, man.
Okay, I know.
You guys are so prolific.
Yeah.
Between I know, like Dave, it's like you only like don't stream like 1 or 2 days a week, and like Scott's jumping on everybody's stream and doing all the stuff that he's doing. It's like, man, and he's got like kids. I'm like, how do you even do this?
Dude, I know it's a
no kidding
for him. It's a balancing act, especially with our new stream too on Saturdays with Batman Animated. You know, sometimes Saturday, that's like a day where because like 2 Saturdays ago, there's like birthdays galore that were happening. So we were like, hey, let's move it to this time. No, we can't do it then. What about this? No, all right, let's just not do it. Have fun, enjoy yourself. We'll get it next week, you know. So it can be.
I will say too, I'll go ahead and plug the Fanimated stream also. I watched the first one, I need to catch up, but if you love the Batman the Animated series, definitely check it out.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun talking about that series.
So, and for us here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay up to date on everything that all the content we're putting out. We're also on Twitter at CapeCast Show, and we just launched a Patreon, and that is patreon.com/CinemaMachinePod.
Nice.
So any help we can get there is appreciated. Guys, we really appreciate you jumping on. It's always
fun
for
having
you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Good time
for sure. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do it again because it's fun every time. So, all right, Brandon. Till next time, my friend.
So long.